welcome back to another KSP video. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 things you probably didn't know about the BD Armory mod in KSP. As you can see, I misspelled the title of my plane, and I will fix that because that's pretty embarrassing. Alright, the first thing I want to talk about at number 5 is the multi-lock radomes. So, there are 3 radomes, and they're meant for being mounted on aircraft. You have the inline radome, where you can, say, put in the middle of your fuselage. You have this radome, which is not as aerodynamic, and then you have this one. Now, a lot of people really don't know the difference, and they think that they should go with one or the other, depending on how fast their plane goes due to aerodynamics, because this one is good for supersonic, this one's good for subsonic. But let me clarify that up. So, this radome, looks like they have the same title. But if you look here in the radar stats, you can see down here simultaneous locks. Now, what that does, it tells you how many targets you can lock on at once. However, if you look here, simultaneous locks of 3. So, by looking at this, you now know that you can lock onto multiple targets. And that way, if you're doing a fighter, preferably you want to have this radar, because then you can lock onto multiple targets and allows you to be more efficient in battle and saves you time, because in battle, time is very important. So, let's go test this out on the... Okay, we are back with Jebediah Kerman, and as you could see, I am in a plane, and I have my radar opened up. You can use the modules tab. Now, I forgot to set number 1 action group on the weapon manager to fire missiles, so I'm going to have to do it manually. But I set action group 2, you can edit this in the settings, to cycle the lock. So as you can see, the planes are now taking off, that I'm in close proximity, and I can select both of them by doing right click. Now see how one is solid, another is open on the inside? If I press 2, I can cycle the lock. Now you can also use this button to cycle it, but yeah, so all you have to do is get this reticle there, you click fire missile, we're gonna cycle the lock, and then we're gonna fire another missile. Perfect. And now we should be able to take these 2 targets out with 2 missiles, and it's in a much faster time frame. So as you can see, the missiles are going in. That one missed. But is that one gonna hit? Is it? Come on, come on, come on. Oh well. But as you can see, I proved the point that you can have multiple locks per target. And this is very useful when you're in dogfights. So yeah, now let's move on to number 4. Alright, at number 4, which I would say is probably the most complicated, we have the radar warning receiver. Now, the radar warning receiver is an interesting piece because what it does is, radar data receiver. But what it is it's basically like an early warning system, and what it does allows you to share data between craft that are on the same team. So there are a lot of implications for this. An example is you could have a radar station on the ground that could give information to a plane in the air so it could lock on targets. Or the vice versa, where you have a plane with a radar and it could talk to a ground station, and the ground stations could say maybe have like a Patriot, like here, which is radar guided, so the plane could lock onto a target and they would relay that data to the Patriot, and it could fire the PAC-3 intercept missile and blow it up. So yeah, I'm going to show you some of the different ways you can use this, but that's the general idea. Alright, so here we are. We have our ground station here, and if we go to our radar data receiver, go to our data link, we should be getting information from this plane over here, which is capable of tracking the plane. So we have this, we have the air tracker. So now, despite the fact that we have no radar on board, we can still track this plane. So now we can go to here, and if I had PAC-3 intercept missiles in here, which I seemingly forgot to, I could orientate this and point at this and shoot it. So what you could do is you could have a plane up here and giving data to the ground station, which could shoot the plane down. And I'm not going to show you this, but you could also do it again the other way around, where you have a ground station with radar, and you can support the planes above. So, now let's get on to number 3. Alright, at number 3 we have the heat-seeking missiles AIM-9 Sidewinders. So, a lot of people think that these are specifically for air-to-air combat, because if you read its description and stats, it is an air-to-air missile type guidance. However, I'm going to show you some other uses besides air-to-air. So, one use is actually that they can, because the way they work is they find a heat signature and then track it. Because not everything everything produces heat. It doesn't have to have an engine. However, that will produce a lot of heat. But in fact, if you get in close enough proximity, you can use an AIM-9 Sidewinder to destroy an enemy ground target. So I'm going to show that off right now. So here I have my plane, and then here I have my ground station, and then it also has some missiles, which I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn around, and what we're going to do is I'm going to throttle back. I'm going to try to keep my area generally over. Now you want to be very close, because otherwise it's not going to lock. So the problem is it's not so good in combat, but yeah. Because what happens is if it's a ground station, you have to get close. Now I put on cheats, so it wouldn't be destroyed, because I'm about to show you the vice versa of it, where you can take an AIM-9, go here, and destroy the enemy. Yeah. As you can see though, even with cheats, it is still capable of destroying it if you fire off every single missile in your arsenal. Interesting. But yeah, so AIM-9 can also fire air to ground and ground to air. It also works, as crazy as it sounds, space to space. It's not that great because of the way it's in zero gravity. Even the HEKV-1s, which are the designated space missile, is broken and doesn't work in space. But I'm going to show you it in action. At number 2, we have automatic fuse timing. So here we are with 2 anti-aircraft guns, the Goalkeeper and the Oerlikon Millennium. Now, a lot of people choose to go with the Goalkeeper for its rate of fire. However, the Goalkeeper does not, and it also has radar, but it does not have fuse timing. So as you can see here, it has a default detonation range, which means when the bullet, because 30 millimeters are explosive ammo, they can explode at a certain height or distance. So here, the default range is 3,500, and you can manually edit this. So that's when they will explode automatically. However, the Oerlikon Millennium, although with a lower rate of fire and a default detonation of 3,500, its rounds will automatically explode when nearby you. So I think that despite this having a lower rate of fire, but because it has little mini explosions per bullet that it fires, you can have them for different purposes. So, for this one, you may want to have this for anti-fighter, anti-missile, because they're small and quick, so you want to have a large rate of fire. But for this one, you can miss a little bit because this is slightly inaccurate, but when it's a large target, say a bomber, or a ground target, which is a lot more stationary, this would be the better choice. So for something bigger or heavily armored, like a ground target or a bomber, this would be the better choice. But for a smaller thing like this, that would be the better choice. So I'm going to show you these in action. So we have a plane here, and we're going to start with the Goalkeeper. Alright, so that's the Goalkeeper. Now we'll go with this one. And as you'll see by the bullets, There's small mini explosions. All those little mini explosions. And those are good because for a large target, that would be the better choice. So yeah, that is the second thing you probably didn't know about BD Armory. Let's get at number 1. And finally, at number 1, as weird as it looks, fairings. So, as we can see, you have a fairing and a goalkeeper inside. Now, I was thinking 2 years back about how because I wanted a shield where bullets could go out but not come in. And I thought about something that I could create that would be easily manipulatable, and I came up with this. So it's really simple. Bullets can come out, but they have a hard time getting in. Now, it's not OP because a fairing can be destroyed, so after it takes a certain amount of hits, it's destroyed. The thing though about fairings though is they have a very high heat tolerance, and because BD Armory uses heat as a system for damage, um, the fairings are pretty good armor. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good. So, I have a decal here, and I subsequently destroyed it very easily. Now, the reason it was destroyed so easily at that time is because of the limited kind of parts. If you had a bigger structure, it takes the heat a lot better, but when you have something bigger like a turret, and also the size of the fairing also matters, but what's inside the fairing really determines how much it can hold. So it was really destroyed easily this time, but I've had some pretty tough fairings that I've made. Also, another thing for armor technology is if you use structural plates, which also have a high heat tolerance. Those are good too. I actually made like a box of structural plates and then put a command pod inside. It took 8 cannon shells from an M1 Abrams tank cannon until it was destroyed. But yeah, so that's at number 1, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.